Is there anything better in this world than money? Especially this low-res stuff. But for real, why is it so difficult to find a high-res image of money? Anyways, today we're going to be talking about why I love investing in dividend-paying companies. The majority of my portfolio is going to be off companies that pay dividends, so why is that? Well, I have a couple main reasons for it. So my first point I want to bring up is going to be due to this recession fear-mongering. I'll go ahead and make a point based off that. So the benefit there of dividend companies is during a recession, you can guarantee yourself actually making profits because the stock valuation most likely will not be increasing. So what's going to happen instead of that stock price increasing, you can guarantee yourself gained money just through those dividends. So the whole time during a recession while you're holding through, you can go ahead and just collect dividend money and just let that stock sit there. And that's a very big benefit in my opinion, because a lot of people, whenever they see a fear of stock price decreasing, they might just instinct sell, which obviously is never what you want to do. If it's a company you believe in and you've researched them well, just know that if they're paying a dividend, just hold it out, and if you believe that they're going to be recovering or at least staying consistent, you can guarantee yourself at least a gain. So you don't have to rely on fluctuation. And we live on a time in the market where there's so much volatility just everywhere, between fear-mongering analysts talking about quote-unquote recession, which, debatable. If we're talking about trade war, any single tweet, any tweet by the president, it could be anything, you never know. Anything could add to severe turbulence in the market, and that might scare some people and want them to get out. But as long as you're paying in a consistent dividend payer, it's something you can lock in money there. And something about that's really nice. I like the freedom that you get from that dividend money. So you can either choose to reinvest that dividend, or you could use it for whatever you'd like. So if you have a company that's paying you this quarter, they're paying you, like, let's say, however many cents per share, and it ends up being $25. Let's say you got $25 in dividends from this company this quarter. Go ahead and treat yourself to a nice meal. You probably could get at least a couple Happy Meals out of it, if you're feeling like that. 5 biggie bags from Wendy's. Obviously, you wouldn't treat yourself to a nice meal, because why would you? If you're only making $25 in dividends, you're still a poor person. So am I. But regardless, something's really nice about that. So that's what my goal is. Part of step 2, the second reason why, is I want to build up this portfolio so that way it can sustain me in the future. Obviously, right now there is a 0% chance I could be sustained off the dividends I'm earning. 0% chance. But the goal is to keep growing this portfolio so when I'm, in my 60s, I hopefully don't have to work again. I'm just going to be honest. I want to be able to retire early and just live off that dividend income and just be happy. That's the goal, at least. And from math I've done, I believe I should be able to be in a good point, unless obviously anything happens. So I'll be excited a lot further down the line. Obviously, it's crazy to think 40 years out, but it's something I want to do. I want to be able to be happy when I'm older, for sure, because that's the time you don't want to have to be working. Obviously, people are working later and later now because it's costing people more and more to live. So as far as people aren't really retiring at that average age of 65 anymore, a lot of people are working past that now. And I don't want to necessarily be in that camp. That's why I work so hard right now as is, because I want to go ahead and set myself up for the future. So that way later down the line I don't have to work And hopefully I can have a nice portfolio set up where I can just get consistent dividend income every quarter, every month regarding some companies. I've talked about some companies that pay monthly, like Apple Hospitality. Love the company, and if I can hold it as long as I can, I gladly will, and just get that monthly income that can pay for meals, it can pay whatever I needed to do. So just something that's always intriguing to me. Just the idea of being able to live off of dividends just seems just amazing to me. On top of that, there's obviously room for dividend growth, so you can increase that amount of money you're getting if you choose decent companies. And a lot of it really, as far as investing in these companies, if they don't currently pay a dividend, it depends for me. If I'm going to put a lot of money into a company that's not paying a dividend, I'm going to want it to be a company that I believe is going to be paying a dividend in the future, so that way I can get paid for it that way. A company like Facebook is one that always comes to mind for me, just because the hordes of cash they have. Once they get out of their growth phase and they mature more, they're going to start paying a dividend, and it's going to be very nice for shareholders. So that's kind of my goal there. I want to be able to have a sustainable income just through dividends, and eventually at one point I will. Overall, and if you look, you can see as far as performance goes, dividend companies usually perform very similarly to non-dividend companies in terms of percentage gains if you account for that dividend yield. But my main thing is these dividends are usually a surefire thing. I can't say they are always. Think of a company like GE, absolute garbage fire. They cut their dividend last year, and obviously the stock got hammered too, so you lost on both fronts. You lost both your dividend yield there, and you lost both stock value. So obviously there's nothing set and guaranteed about dividends, so that's why you want to aim for companies that have been consistent with their dividends, either consistently growing or just flat. You don't want a company that's been decreasing, and you want to make sure you pay attention to earnings when you're looking at those dividend companies too, because if they're reporting less and less earnings as time goes, eventually they're going to have to cut that dividend so that way they can actually pay their needs. So these dividends are extra income that they're able to pay back to shareholders. So not all companies do it, but that's just a brief insight of why I invest in stocks that pay dividends, and I believe you should too. I think it's going to be great. Obviously, it depends a lot. Some people think they wait and realign their portfolio whenever they're older. They start with a growth portfolio when they're younger, and then they realign that to be a dividend portfolio when they're older, which I understand that absolutely, but for me, I'm kind of in the boat where I'm okay with earning dividends now. I'm okay with that. Growth is obviously a lot more risky in a lot of aspects, so it's not necessarily something I want to invest the majority of my portfolio in, but that my ideology may change. I'm still relatively young to investing, so my ideology may change at some point, but for now, I'm kind of okay with the strategy I'm going with, and I believe it's something you should consider as well, at least adding some stocks that pay dividends in your portfolio, so that way you can have that guaranteed income, and I think you'll like it. Hope you enjoyed this information.